All right, hey everybody, welcome to Inside Vaping. Hopefully this week we won't run out of disk space, which I believe was a large impediment for us last week. Ed is making funny faces with the camera, and I feel like switching over to him at random times just so people could see. Oh man. So welcome to the show, everybody. It's been a couple weeks. Obviously a lot of stuff has been going on. Let's see, what's the big news? Biggest news I've got is I actually went to a bar called Big Joe's Chicago, and they had turtle racing there. Apparently this has been going on for many, many years, but Big Joe's Chicago, yeah. And they had betting on these turtles, so I thought that was pretty bizarre. Dane, you're familiar with the place?
Yes, I am. It is actually in my old neighborhood, and I giggle when you say turtles, and I just don't know what, but I do. I think it's my childish humor.
Turtling, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Every time you say turtle, I can't help but laugh.
Ed, what's going on this week? What's new with you? Oh, you're still muted. That's awesome.
Wasn't me this week. Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
Hi, I'm Ed. I got this. I got the Evolve. Yeah, thank you very much. I got the Evolve sent me a box. I already had the DNA, so I built this. But I also got in the mail.
As he digs through the box.
I got my Moo boxes. All 3D printed. They turned out really nice. They turned out really nice.
All the colors of the rainbow.
Yes.
I don't know if you knew this, but I kind of have a thing for Mamu, just because she's such a good modder. Still got that little Avani Raptor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I'm building, and I got a lot going on. There was a position open at work. Somebody quit last week, and I'm trying to go for that. So I've been working on resume, and it's been a busy week.
Well, that's good. It makes the week go faster. At least that's what I've noticed.
I don't want weeks to go faster. I'm going to be 40 next year.
I hear you.
Slower.
I feel the same way.
Before we get any further into vape mail, because I do have some stuff to talk about as well, I want to introduce our guest for the evening, and we are very happy to have Gary Riddle, who is the founder of Mr. Good Vape, joining us this evening. Gary, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. I think you're muted too. It might be a...
Yes!
Is anybody else having problems with chat over on the home page, or is it just me?
You know what? Gary's still muted, and yes, I am having problems with
there
chat.
It is.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now we can hear you.
We're not connected.
Well, anyway, I said it was a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me on the show.
Sure. And, you know, it's kind of interesting. We're going to delve into some of the things that have been going on with manufacturers in general and with the industry a little bit later here. But, you know, Gary is doing things the right way, and he's in it for the long term. And those are the type of people that we like to support here at Inside Vaping. We're not interested in companies that are flying by night and trying to just make what they can off the industry, off of the community, without actually putting in the time to make sure that what they're producing is safer and having those long-term goals. And there's a lot of parts that go into that, so we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But before we do, continuing with vape mail, I got a box mod. This is from a company called Box Mod Customs, and they sent me a evaluation unit. This unit is not finished. There are a couple changes that are going to be made, but one of the nice things about this mod is it's completely modular. So there's, you know, literally hundreds of different combinations that you can put together on their website. So let me see if I can find, there's a banner, so you see some of the color combinations, and of course there's all different doors, button colors, frame colors, etc. And these things are very well made. They do have a lot of options when it comes to the chipset. You can get a DNA 40. You can get a SX350 in either parallel or series mode, which will, of course, either increase your capacity or increase your maximum wattage output. So there's a lot of options here. I believe they're also planning on doing a DNA 200 device. The one that I have is simply a series, parallel box. But I did get it with the Swedish flag because, let's face it, I kind of love Sweden, Dane. That's my thing.
That's an understatement.
It's all about Swedes.
Can we try?
He's an honorary Swede.
Get in touch with the Plumes shit and find out what's going on. Dino just texted me and wanted to know what's going on with the chat.
I keep getting kicked out.
I have no idea, man. It's I guess it's not working.
We're unwelcome. It's kicking me out of chat. I'm unwelcome.
Yeah.
It says I'm in here.
Yeah,
I
don't. This is the first time I logged in and it says cannot join channel. You are banned.
Wow, you've been banned? I've been kicked by the Voot bot.
What the heck, man?
I have no. I don't. I think I don't.
Do we have no chat?
I don't see.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's different. It's different this week than it was in the past. Gary, just to fill you in, we normally do have technical difficulties at least every show. That's just
it is very common.
Yeah, I don't know what
it's all
to do with
good.
my giant water bottle.
It is very common. I'm been making fun of James's infatuation with Sweden. Because I think he's going to be an honorary Swede. I picture him shopping weekends at IKEA, assembling Billy books on his Billy bookcases on his spare time, and eating Swedish meatballs at the checkout line.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. So, it's no surprise to most of our viewers that I'm a fan of Swedish snus. I love it. It's a great form of harm-reduced nicotine consumption, and it's safer than its American cousins like Skoal and Copenhagen. We know that it's very, very low in TSNAs, and it's very convenient, too. I have a list of Swedish likes and dislikes that I'd like to share with everybody, though. And, even Tom Green sang a song about Sweden. I think the title of the song is actually Lonely Swedish. That is not Tom Green. Here we go. That is Tom Green. So Tom Green sang a song about it. Here's some things that I like. I like Swedish fish. Would you agree, Dane? They're pretty tasty?
Yes, they are.
And Gary, do you like Swedish fish?
Of course.
Okay.
I think everybody likes Swedish fish.
But have you ever had surströmming, which is fermented Baltic Sea herring?
That looks disgusting.
This is disgusting. It's putrefied fish. It's allowed to basically ferment inside this can until the can swells. There is some oversight into the process, but when you open it, it's traditionally eaten outside. So this is one of those Swedish traditions that I just can't quite get behind. According to a Japanese study, a newly opened can of surströmming has one of the most putrid food smells in the world.
Look, stinky cheese is acceptable, but stinky fish, on the other hand, is not acceptable. And that looks like beyond stinky fish in there.
So
yeah, that's horrible.
Here's something else. I like cinnamon rolls. They originated in Sweden, and they're celebrated every October 4th on Kanelbullens Dag, Cinnamon Roll Day.
We're going to get him Rosetta Stone speaks Swedish for his birthday this year.
I need to. I'm probably butchering it. If we have any Swedish viewers, they're probably tuning out. This is
the Swedish chef from the Muppets tune
Look
now.
at this though. There's so much weirdness going on in Sweden too. This is Swedish pee and poo plush toys, which can be yours for only $45 because Sweden Toys ships worldwide.
$45?
The most disturbing thing is they have like starfish shaped mouths. which is just weird too. Yeah, it's just odd. So,
I mean, that one hole is okay for the poo. The other one should just be a slit.
oh man, I'm leaving that one alone. Okay, so here's the other thing. So we've got Swedish cars. Okay, Koenigsegg Agera. If you're a car guy, you're probably familiar with this one. It's very, very fast, great looking supercar. I like Koenigsegg. I do not like Volvo. I never have. And now I think they're made by they're made by Ford.
Yes,
yeah, I've always wondered, how do they pronounce that in the Deep South?
Volvo or something.
Volvo.
I think
Got a
it
Volvo.
is.
Volvo.
And
I don't
this
think
is
they
the one
pronounce
that
the L.
Dane cannot agree with me on this one, but I like Dolph Lundgren, a.k.a. the Swedish Meathead. But I do not like Swedish meatballs.
How can you not like Swedish
like
meatballs when
those
you
are
love
amazing.
IKEA?
Have you been to IKEA? I mean, yeah, come on.
Yes, I have. I've been to IKEA many times.
Have you had the balls?
I'll bet he has.
I have. I just never cared for him. But yes, I do like
great.
Dolph Lundgren. He was in a lot of cheesy movies. I get that, but you know what? It is what it is. Oh, and before we continue, I have to talk about my latest obsession as well. I went to see Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, which was great. And Rogue Nation has...
So now you're a Scientologist.
No. I'm not a Tom Cruise fan, but they have... The actress that plays the lead female role in that movie kicks butt. And...
Is she
Her name
Swedish?
is Rebecca Ferguson, and she is Swedish, and she was never in an action movie.
Look at his
before.
face. It's like he's smelling that.
Was her
it's like he's
signature.
smelling that fish.
That was her signature move. But she was also on back of a motorcycle and a lot of crazy stunts and a knife fight. So, yeah, it was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it.
I would be remiss too if I did not mention that we spent some time in Crystal Lake. With Anthony at Nixteria, formerly Juicy Vapor, and that was a load of fun. And I'm actually vaping his juice tonight. I'm vaping, if I can hold on to it, Dirty South, which is pretty good.
And just to let you guys know, I'm very sad that Dane is not here today, but Jerry is here, as you can tell by the lower third.
Son of a gun! Why did you have to call it to my attention? Now I gotta fix it.
I was gone last show, and I've been replaced already. It's that quick.
Yeah,
Jerry's not even here.
No, but he feels so close, doesn't he, James? Just closer than ever.
He's in Chicago.
Right on the screen.
He is in Chicago right now with hotel internet, and it just won't let him Skype or something, or his iPad. I don't know. He just couldn't get connected.
Or Jerry.
Can I find Dane's lower third, or is it gone? Oh, now you're Dane Smith. Great. Add me Dane Smith briefly. But
just kicked me off the show, you Swedish loving bastard.
You moron.
All right, let's get on with the show here. Enough lollygagging.
I thought the show was over.
Gary, do you have a DNA 200 yet?
No, actually, I don't.
Are you planning on getting one?
You send me one.
We'll have to work out a trade for juice.
I'll send you juice. I got tons of it.
We'll steal one from Jerry.
There you go. Yeah, Ed's got like 6 complete mods there in his workshop, or the parts for 6 complete mods. I did run across another box mod here. This is the Boxer mod, which is pretty cool. It's a 3D printed design, but one of the things that I like about it is from looking at the pictures, it looks like you could probably do a hot swap on the battery. I want to confirm that with them because I'm not sure, but if it's using that little quick connector on that battery, Ed, don't you think you could probably hot swap
Absolutely.
them or switch them out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I do like that design. It's kind of reminiscent of, what was it, the Vape Droid? Looks a little like a Vape Droid.
Sure.
But lipo pack. Looks like it has a rocker switch. There's a lot of different color options here. I'm going to kind of page through these. But it looks pretty cool. And price is right around $200, so that's pretty much spot on with what the other companies are doing. So
Not bad.
yeah, not too bad.
And here's a little size comparison. There you go. I have that said battery. And here's an 18650 to give you an idea about how big that device is going to be.
Huh.
There you go.
That's a lot smaller than I thought it would be. It looks in a picture like it's bigger.
Yeah, this battery pack is actually thinner than an 18650.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go.
How many mAh is that? 1,000?
It's a 1,000 mAh. And I'll figure out the watt hour later.
Do you have a calculator for that now?
Yes, we do.
I need one.
He needs to figure out watt hours. What the heck? Yeah, somebody says the vape bot is kicking people.
Yeah, it keeps kicking me out. I come back in and it boots me.
Okay.
I can't get in.
Let's just move on.
Screw you, Mr. Vape Bot.
That's right. So, Gary, let's get back to this. Let's talk a little bit about some of the recent developments here. A while back, VaporShark released the enthalpy lab test results for all of the e-liquids that they carry. And, of course, those who follow these things are innately familiar with the resulting fallout. Of the liquids tested, there were a couple of Mr. Good Vape's flavors which indicated a trace amount of diacetyl in AP. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to see an email from VaporShark in my inbox last weekend, which contained a press release from Mr. Good Vape. Can you tell us a little bit about that press release and about what you guys did?
Well, when we set the press release out to just inform people that we are taking the step to we did take the step to reformulate the 3 flavors, which were Moon Sugar, Dabble Do Ya, and Sunday Fun Day. And they did have, parts per million that were detected in the enthalpy lab results. And so instead of just, telling people that, hey, you know what, it's in there, if you like the flavor, you are going to choose what you're putting in your body. And we just decided to take it out and reformulate. And, we worked with some flavor artists at Molecule Labs, myself and George Kapasanis, which is our CEO. And we just reformulated it across the board, and it was done because I feel like it's necessary.
Right.
We can go deeper into that later, but it's just those 2 chemicals. As you do research on them, there is no research essentially that's going to say, oh, this is going to for vapor. There's nothing at all on the market available that you can look at and give us definitive results if it's bad or not for vapors. But in my opinion, it's better to take it out.
Right. And, to that
James,
point...
James, hold on a second. Everybody refresh the chat will work now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Did you just fix it?
No, understudy. He just sent a message and said it was fixed.
My nickname's changed to Hooligan now. Why did that happen? There we go. Real name is Plumes Fan?
You think
Why isn't it Inside Vaping Fan, Sean?
You can change it to Inside Vaping.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
All right. So,
I think
continue.
I'm in here now.
I think I am too. Oh, yeah, there you are. I see you.
There we go. Yep. Hello, Sean. I see you. Or I see you typing. Okay, so, there's been a lot of back and forth, and I'm sure you've read the messages as well and have talked to people about the long-term safety of diacetyl and AP, but I think we can all agree on one thing. If there's a way we can make the liquids we vape safer, we're inhaling these things. We're not actually ingesting them. I feel that as an industry, we're duty-bound to do so. And at some point, and I know we still say this, and it's a valuable argument, I understand that, but the dialogue should change from, well, it's safer than smoking. I mean, I think we need to make this safer across the board. Safer compared with vaping 2 years ago. Why don't we use that as a new benchmark instead of continuing to use combustible products? Because let's face it, it's almost like comparing apples and oranges. I mean, Dane, how many times have you heard the argument that nicotine exists in fruits and vegetables?
Yeah, I hear the
we're not saying
argument
that
all the time.
We're not saying that eggplants are safer than smoking. I mean, again, it's it's different technology. So, that brings up a couple questions. You had a very interesting statement in that press release, and I want to read that and talk to you about this a little bit more. You said, "My vision for Mr. Good Vape in this industry is long term. I need to do everything within my power to produce premium e-liquid for decades to come. We all need to do what we can as an industry to create the safest possible transition from combustible tobacco cigarettes to vaping, which all starts with the ingredients in e-liquid recipes." So I guess my question to you would be, long-term versus short-term. And I know we talked about this a little bit because you wanted a better understanding what I was talking about. I didn't flesh out the question properly. But what I was getting at here is that I've witnessed a lot of companies that are simply in this for the money. They're in it for as long as they can make cash off of it, and as soon as there's any sign of resistance from state and local government, from any type of bill, any type of regulation that's imposed on them that can incur some sort of financial hardship, at that point they're ready to give up or they're ready to get out of it. And we've seen it in Indiana. Obviously, not too long ago in Indiana, we had a bill come through that required some regulations regarding e-liquid manufacture. And I found out some details about that. I actually talked to a gentleman about it, and we'll talk about that a little later. But have you noticed the same things, Gary? I mean, in the industry, you've been to these shows all over the U.S., and you've probably seen a lot of vendors like that, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I mean that's why I question asked you, like long term and short term, because there's a lot of aspects to that question, because there is the chemical aspect and the way you make your juice. Are you, for me, for instance, somebody at long term is somebody that's investing in a facility, taking the profits that they've earned to either invest into their facility and grow their facility to keep up with the demand of their product. There are people that, to keep up with volume, are going to go like co-packing route like we did. And I actually had 2 Class 10,000 clean rooms and I had all that stuff, but I moved away from that business model, went to co-packing. That to me is a long-term. Short-term on that aspect is the people that are making it in their houses. They're throwing a nice label on there, giving it to shops at a reasonable price, using extracts that, for instance, I'm trying to take out because, obviously if you're going to be using something with a lot of diacetyl and AP, it's going to taste great. It's really easy to mix those fluids. Another long-term and short-term question is marketing and branding, because as you see, a trend in the industry right now is to, let's just say take Trix or something, and all of a sudden you have something that looks like Trix, it's the same logo, or, like there's one that looks like the Snapple bottle, or, there's one that looks like, they're ripping off brands and other brands, whether it be logos, that is short-term to me, because eventually these big companies are going to start suing and, getting you out of this business. And I think if you're going to have a business model that's based off of stealing something else, that's short-term for me. And my business is not like that. I created my logo myself. I want my business to be long-term because it supports my entire family. I have a child to support, a wife to support. I have employees to support, and long-term growth for me and consistent growth and market shares.
I'm sorry, Gary. He also has 3 or 4 hairless cats. I think I just saw one of them leap over that gate behind you.
Yeah, I do. I got 3 of them.
Yeah,
Pretty nimble.
well, I mean, and that's the thing. It's you talked about co-packing, and one of the things that I've tried to convey to a couple of the smaller players that I've talked to, and obviously, you guys have been around since what, 2012?
Okay. Yeah, well, it was conceived 2011, then finally packaged in 2012. So so worldwide, it's actually worldwide since 2012.
Yeah, so you guys are a fairly major player, and you made the decision to co-pack. But one of the things that a lot of people just don't seem to realize is that they're focused on having like these food safe clean rooms in Indiana, because that's what the requirement was. It just needs to be a food safe clean room. You need to have 24-hour monitoring, but they've accepted ADT, which is a good thing, because originally we thought it was going to be a company within Indiana that was required to monitor these other manufacturing facilities in other states and had the contract for that. But they're choosing to ignore things like ISO and even GMP. And moving forward, I mean, I think you would admit as well that when the FDA finally rules, the likelihood is that the number of e-liquid manufacturers is going to be reduced quite a bit, quite heavily.
Yeah.
Unless for some reason Zeller's continuum of risk includes, very lax regulations on the e-liquid manufacturing segment, which I don't think it's going to.
I don't think that's going to happen at all. I mean, for my business models, I've always thought was what the worst that can happen, and I've always prepared for that personally.
Sure.
When I first started doing this business, I mean, I started building class 10,000 clean rooms, from the get-go, before anybody really did that. And I think that in other, I'm trying to put this in my own, but if you're not requiring the standards like ISO, GMP, I think you're going to hurt yourself as a business and hurt the business or hurt the industry as a whole, because you need to set practices to follow in order to make this pretty much the best liquid possible. Because I know I'm ISO certified, and it was hard to get. It's a set of practices that you have to. This is pretty much a set of rules that you have to follow. And if you deviate from that, you lose your certification. And GMP, we don't have that, but Molecule does, and that was one reason why I went to Molecule Labs, is because of the certifications that they follow, or that they have. Sorry.
So, I think the next question we had was regular GCMS testing going forward. So, are you guys? Do your liquids undergo regular GCMS testing, or is that going to be something that you'll evaluate as time goes on? I mean, what?
Well, my goal is my new product. I've already showed you the labels, but I have a QR code that's on my new bottles that you can scan. It'll take you right to the test results for that particular flavor. We are going to do regular testing. We just did our first round for our new relaunch, and I plan on doing it monthly. And what I want to do actually is have samples taken, not just from the lab that's made at, but off the shelves of stores, that are selling my product, to make sure that it's consistent. Because for me, it's, if I can pull it off the store shelf, randomly test it comes out perfect, then that's going to give the consumers pretty much, in my opinion, they probably feel better for using my product. Because I mean, anybody can take something, send it in, and get it tested and free of chemicals, because you can mix it, without that particular chemical in it. So that's the back end.
I think it's actually, is it acetylpropanol that forms after the liquid is mixed?
Diacetyl does, because it's natural.
Diacetyl.
It's found.
Okay.
It naturally occurs with sugar and alcohol.
Yeah. So also another thing we want to bring up here, because the name of this episode is "Why is Nicotine Vilified?" and there's quite a bit of discourse lately about the fact that there is no consistency between batches of e-liquid that has been tested. At least a couple of these news articles are citing this. So the question is nicotine titration testing. Do you guys do it on every batch, or what's your process for testing the accuracy of your nicotine in your liquids?
Well, since I am co-packed now by Molecule, what their standards are is that they randomly pick from batches and send them into enthalpy to get tested for that randomly. It's not every batch, but they do randomly check to make sure that the nicotine is correct.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to have it in-house, but it's something we have to talk about. So.
Somebody in chat is asking about your logo because they say it's cartoonish.
I changed it.
You did?
Yeah. If you look, I don't know, I'll show you guys. That's a new logo. I don't know if you can see it, but that's our new stuff. And what it is that I took the eyes out. And all it is, it's a
like a
outline
profile.
of my character. Yeah. I have it's gone. Once I'm a member of VapeFreeYouth.com, and so that was something that I signed. So we are changing everything, that has to do with the cartoon character. We'll be releasing our website as well. The only time you'll see my character will be at like a convention or ECC, because I have that 6 foot tall statue. that I
Right.
bring. But other than that, it's not going to be used in any of my marketing material or anything whatsoever going out to the public.
Okay, very good. Dane, you had a couple questions?
I do. I have one. Gary, do you believe, as some people do in this industry, that big tobacco will approach some of the leading e-liquid companies and attempt to buy them outright or their recipes somewhere down the line in the years to come? And with that being said, is that really a viable business model for some companies in the industry now? Is that what some people are doing?
I think anything's possible. You know, I'm pretty sure that if you established your brand, you know, and you had the market share, any, you know, big tobacco, I think probably would want to pick it up if that's the choice that you want to do as a person in a business. Is that a viable business model? I think, you know, if that's your goal, to be bought out by, you know, big tobacco, then definitely you can build your business model like that. You know, you want to be everywhere they're at. Then, you know, that's not my business model. But
Right.
you know, if you know, but I guess that's possible. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's not a lot of people that would turn down, you know, millions or, you know, I don't even know if it's billions, whatever, of dollars from pretty much anybody, you know.
Yeah.
So I've got a question too. I know you guys are releasing. You've reformulated all your flavors, obviously. There were only 3 that were detected with trace amounts of diacetyl and AP, but you reformulated all your flavors to take out the flavorings that contained diacetyl, correct?
Yeah, it was
Or
3
AP.
of them. Yes.
Yeah. So there's been a reformulation there, but you also had another announcement that was coming up for ECC. Isn't that correct?
Oh yeah, I forgot about it on the show already. I don't do interviews often, so
That's okay.
anyway, it's we are releasing the Unity collection. It's a collaboration between Svomesto and Mr. Good Vape, and we are releasing that at the show. It's 3 flavors called the German, the American, and the Russian. And you know, it's pretty much a worldwide collaboration. We actually we developed the flavors in the United States, had them made in Canada, sent back to the United States, then they sent them to Germany, and then Germany sent them to Russia, and then that's how we made these flavors, by doing this back and forth for about a year. And so it's a special project to us, strictly because, you know, we built it to be almost like a European, like for a European palate, you know, the American palate. But other than that, it's what we did and the love we put into the packaging. You know, it comes in a box. It has all the correct compliance, chip compliance. You know, obviously compliant United States. We have white frosted bottles. Our labels are actually pull-out labels, so they're pharmaceutical labels. So you have the warnings on the outside. You pull them in. It has different translations on the inside. You know, so, you know, obviously child-proof. We never release anything that's not child-proof. So, you know, it's exciting for us. It's been a crazy project. So I'm excited to you know, share it with everybody at ECC.
And plus, you get to work with Flo. He's quite a character.
I love Flo.
I'm a big fan of Svomesto mods. I'm just going to go on the record saying that now. Always have been.
You like your
Big fan.
K-Funs.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
What if they're going to be coming out with a K-Fun SUB-OHM?
Really?
I don't know.
Damn it.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? I tried to get information out of Flo before on that stuff. He's tight-lipped. That's okay.
Well, we do have, we are giving away 3 K-Fun 4s that are inscribed with the German, American, and Russian at ECC. They're custom with the Unity collection. So that will be something
Very
that people
cool.
could win, yeah.
Actually,
So-
I have an image of something else that is going to be happening at ECC here. Here you go. Jason Mewes is apparently going to be at ECC.
Is he really?
Yes, he's going to be peddling his juice there. So
I expect Jason Mewes to be on Inside Vaping. There.
I imitated him in one of my first videos ever. You remember that?
was that wasn't the Wild Bill one, was it?
Yeah, it was.
That
He
was
did
pretty
Wild
good. We'll
Bill,
have to play
remember?
that in the after show. Yep.
One of these days.
Yeah. All right, let's start on our news stories here this evening. And we only have a couple of them, but we'll go ahead and start on those. So one of the first ones that we have here is from the Lauderdale Daily News. And this is the nicotine prediction of e-cigarettes is possible with this new model. So Dane, why don't you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, this was in the Lauderdale News, and I got confused at first because it was actually Virginia Commonwealth University who did the research, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. But they pulled the information, I guess, from a lot of different e-cigarette companies on the concentration level of liquid nicotine that's being used in the device, and most importantly, the time duration that a user generally takes each puff. Then the team came up with a mathematical model, and this was very interesting, to decide the quantity of nicotine that is coming out of the devices as the nicotine liquid concentration and device voltage were increased and the extension of the puff duration of the user. So really,
this is kind of the no-duh scenario in my mind. They have a mathematical equation to come up with this, but the model found out that e-cigarette devices with higher voltages when paired with the nicotine liquids which have high concentration could emit addictive substance in larger levels than the normal tobacco cigarettes. So again, we're talking about efficiency here. Thomas Eisenberg, the team member of the research, said the results showed that nicotine yields from 15 puffs on an e-cigarette varied by more than 50 times across various device, liquid, and user behavior conditions.
I loved him in The Social Network, by the way.
Thomas Eisenberg?
Yeah, he was outstanding. He was good in Now You See Me, too. It's pretty good. I like that guy.
Wasn't he in Adventureland also?
Zombieland. Oh, yeah, Adventureland, too.
Adventureland, yeah. Right. That's not Thomas Eisenberg. That's somebody else. Jerry Eisenberg.
Must be his brother.
This should surprise nobody in our audience, though. I'm sure that those of you using SUB-OHM tanks and drippers have by and large already reduced your nicotine levels due to the increase in both the volume of the vapor and the efficiency of nicotine delivery in these higher powered devices. I mean, isn't that true of you, Ed? I mean, you don't vape the same way that you did back when you were, sucking through a
No, I didn't, and it's funny that you say that because I was thinking about that today, that, 2 years ago, everyone was concerned with lowering their nic level. Well, we've all lowered our nic level now, but we're still getting the same overall amount. But now we're vaping a lot more liquid. So that my mind started going back to hey, now if there's diacetyl, if there's AP, if there's whatever in the liquid, now we're just getting more of that.
Because we're increasing our e-liquid consumption.
Yeah, nicotine's really not what hurt anybody.
Right.
I started with 32 Nick.
Yes.
32,
sounds like me.
Yeah, hardcore.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that, Gary? How long ago was that?
2000, I think early 2011.
Okay.
I quit. I started Mr. Good Vape by actually, I quit smoking vaping, and then I even wanted to do DIY because vaping was too expensive back then. It was like $200. So yeah, but I started with 32. I think I don't even know what brand it was actually. But yeah, that's crazy. Now I do 3 to 6. Sometimes I want a 12, but it happens.
Oh, man, my Juul is dead. Gary, I bought a Juul, and I got to tell you, I very quickly became acclimated to the 59 milligram per milliliter that Juul has on it. And
Ed and I were ready to stage an intervention because it was kind of getting out of hand.
But I mean, it worked great because I'd take 5 or 6 puffs on this thing and I'd be good for 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah, while he's got his dip in his mouth.
He's clutching his chest with his other hand.
I'm having a grabber.
Have you taken 24 milligram and then put it on your hand and lick it? See what happens?
I have. That's how I used to. I think that's how they had to sample juice flavors in New Jersey. Oh,
yeah. It's funny. When we send out samples, Southern California, it's 3 Nick. Then you start going towards New York. It's they're asking 18 and 24 samples. I don't know what to give you, man. Yeah. I don't send those. You get 3, so I can't taste it. You're well. I don't know. Dude, I can't believe how much the difference in vaping is, like from Southern California out to New York. You know, it varies. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it's still good to offer higher milligram levels because you're going to have customers that want it. I mean, that's the thing. It's like
we do it, but our sample sets, we only make them in 3.
Yeah. Well, that just makes sense because the other ones are probably just going to sit there anyway.
Yeah. That's why.
You know, the big takeaway for me with this story is the variance in delivery yield. And that's something that I can honestly say may be a regulatory hurdle when it comes to FDA approval. Because you're talking about people that want, you know, replicable, quantitative, boy, try saying that 3 times fast, results to cite. So they want to be able, excuse me, Peter Brady moment. They want to be able to cite these results and have them consistent from device to device. And there's no way to do that right now. You know, we're talking about 3rd generation systems now. We're not even talking about 2nd generation vapor products. We're talking about 3rd generation. Everything's regulated. You have high wattage. You have temperature control. You have all these different technologies, but the experience varies greatly from person to person. And that is probably going to be a hurdle to approval because let's face it, you know, they've got that gateway to approval process, and that doesn't just include, you know, the liquids, it also includes devices. So I don't know how that's all going to play out. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. The team discovered that those who got used to e-cigarettes will generally take longer puffs than the users who are new to the device, which eventually results in more nicotine in their bloodstream. Eisenberg said, when used as intended, an electronic cigarette should not produce a nicotine yield in excess of that of a combustible cigarette, a device that we already know has lethal health effects. So, yeah, they're comparing cigarettes with vapor products. They're talking about lethal health effects. I'm pretty much throwing that portion out. When you talk about the nicotine yield, your body gives you warning signs. I mean, Gary, I'm sure you've experienced this too. If you're sub-ohming and you're hitting somebody's mod and they got 12 milligram in there, it really doesn't take long, or 18.
Yeah,
I mean,
stop.
That's delicious.
No, I mean, I've vaped a lot of nicotine before, like too much, and you just, you know, like you can hiccup, you start to sweat, like, you don't know how to stop. Yeah. Like I said, you lick your hand with 24, you'll figure out like what your limit is real quick. If you're not used to it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some people that did ridiculous things with e-liquid here soon. We've got some Darwin Award winners on the docket. And now we've got a short video to play for you from the Daily RX News. Are you ready for some ridiculous hyperbole from the people backing things like the patch and Chantix? Because, hey, we know how effective NRTs are, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go.
I'm Erin White with today's health news. If you're trying to use an electronic cigarette to curb your addiction to conventional cigarettes, you may be jumping out of the frying pan into fire. A new study found e-cigarettes may be equally as addictive as traditional forms of tobacco. According to researchers, most of the E-Cig liquids they studied contain a form of nicotine, referred to as freebase nicotine, that is most readily absorbed by the body. This, they said, could mean that e-cigs have high potential to cause addiction. Speak with your doctor about getting help for quitting smoking today.
Yeah, so there you go. What are we talking about? Freebase nicotine.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Get a spoon and everything up.
So there's no mention of, the reduced harm aspect of nicotine intake, and they talk about freebase nicotine. So, this is just yet another piece from Big Pharma that's trying to refute the claims that vaping is a boon to public health. And you'll continue to see this. They're not going to change their tune.
No.
Because I'll tell you what, they're on the ropes. It's really true. If you look at the adoption of NRTs, it hasn't been, there hasn't been a huge uptake in people using Chantix in the patch, and it's been largely unaffected or ineffective. So Dane, what do we got here?
Yeah, and that actually brings us to our next story from the Daily Caller. There was a study that said e-cigarettes are as addictive as regular smokes, but vapors shouldn't be worried. So really, to summarize this whole story, according to a new study in the American Chemical Society's Chemical Research and Toxicology Journal, of the 17 e-cigs tested, and I'd really like to see a list, and there wasn't one, but I'd love to see one, there were 3 different types of nicotine detected, and 9 of the e-cigs contained so-called free-base nicotine, which is the only type of nicotine absorbed into the body, making it highly addictive. Now, after I read this story, I came away with this. I don't think freebase is a good descriptor here for the general public. It tends to steer the reader in a pretty negative direction before the context of the study can be read and understood. When we think freebase, images, at least to me, of a burning Richard Pryor come to my mind, and readers could easily make the association of e-cigs to a dangerous, deadly drug. So in short, Big Pharma, when you're putting these out in other newspapers as well and journals, semantics really do matter when it comes to the releasing of study data.
Yeah, just to iterate what Dane had said there, I mean, freebasing, again, it's a negative connotation. I understand, and I'm going to hark back to my Swedish friends with the snus here, but snus contains free nicotine, which is the way they put it. And it's the amount that's readily absorbable by the body. So I understand that. But I believe the use of freebase is calculated when they use it. That's by design because they understand that it's going to bring up that connotation in people. The article continues. They also found that the level of nicotine listed on the packaging didn't always match up with results in the lab. And this just harks back to what I was saying. You're seeing more and more stories that are talking about the differences between sample to sample in nicotine concentration or strength. And I know some of that changes over time, but at the same time, there's some wild variances that have been cited here. The article continues in an email to CBS News last week. Saliba warned that products with very high nicotine delivery may make quitting e-cigs particularly difficult should users decide to try. But is the addictiveness of electronic cigarettes a particular cause for concern in the context of reducing harm from tobacco overall? Dane?
Speaking to the Daily Caller News Foundation, July 27th, Chris Snowden, Director of Lifestyle Economics, is that a real job, Lifestyle Economics, at the Institute of Economic Affairs, said electronic cigarettes still reduce the health risks commonly associated with traditional tobacco. The whole point of harm reduction is to give people a substitute for the thing they are addicted to, Snowden said. Opiates are also addictive, which is why we give people methadone instead of heroin. It's not about addiction, it's about health, and nicotine is not damaging to health. While nicotine does contain carcinogens, electronic cigarettes are considered to be dramatically safer than conventional cigarettes. Snowden argued that nicotine should be far from the main concern when considering the dangers of smoking. Not only is nicotine not damaging to health, but over 1 billion people worldwide enjoy using it, and that number is actually bigger than I thought. And so, if a product can deliver nicotine without delivering cancer, it should be seen as a very welcome development, Snowden said. As of yet, there is no evidence that electronic cigarettes can cause long-term health damage. Furthermore, the largest study of its kind ever conducted in Europe found that there was no evidence of electronic cigarettes having a gateway effect of transferring to tobacco. And to me, that's key. That last sentence is very key because we hear a lot in legislative fights about the gateway effect of e-cigs and younger people then going to smoking. While in a European study, where there are far more smokers per capita than here in the U.S., that study overwhelmingly concluded that there was no gateway effect. And those are the studies that need to be brought to light.
Yeah, speaking of which, and I'll just mention this in passing, but they actually just chose another city in the UK for a groundbreaking e-cig study. And I'm probably going to butcher this name. Is it Leicester or Leicester?
I think it's Leicester. I think it's actually pronounced Leicester.
I don't know how to pronounce it. But this study is being conducted by Queen Mary University of London. 3 centers have been chosen to take part: Leicester, London, and 1 in East Sussex. A total of 250 people will be enrolled in the study in Leicester as researchers look to comparing the effectiveness of e-cigarettes and nicotine replacement therapy in giving up smoking. So they're actually doing studies, practical studies, with a large number of participants, and not just grabbing sample data and phone polling and the things that we seem to want to do over here. So, you know, I'm pretty excited to see the outcome of that.
I see vaping as a gateway to spending too much time on the internet and watching YouTube videos and Four Guys. I think they should do a study on
a lot of reviews on equipment that you will never buy.
There are too many people in this world that know who Grim Green
Lester. All right. Thank you, Jim. Jim corrected me. Lester.
Lester, yes. Thank you.
Oh, and he also says Snowden is a famous libertarian rabble-rouser in the UK. He's a vapor himself. That's my kind of guy.
Yeah, and we know how you like your guys, so...
Hey. Ribs there actually had a good point in chat, too. If we started a drinking game for every bullshit paper that came out about E-Cigs, we'd be drunk all day, every day. That's a fact.
Yet again, another gateway of vaping.
We would have no livers.
All right. Bonnie Herzog. Does anybody remember her?
Oh, yay.
Not related to Werner Herzog, who was
Which
a
is a
director
shame
that
because
I think...
Werner Herzog is a cool person.
Didn't he make the movie about the guy that got killed by a bear? Or did
Yes,
Werner
did.
Herzog
That was a
get
great
killed
documentary. No, he did that.
He did is that the Grizzly Man?
Yes,
yeah,
that movie
Grizzly Man.
That guy was so weird.
He was
so weird.
Oh,
at the end, when you find out it gets eaten, you're like, you already knew it was going to happen. You're like, I knew it.
Spoiler alert.
Prepare for eating.
Spoiler alert. I'm glad that movie came out a while ago, Gary.
Appreciate it, Gary.
It's fine. You'll still want to watch it.
You jerk.
It's compelling. It's compelling TV.
I just watched one called Backcountry. I don't know. Have you guys heard of that one? It's about
that's
this
kind of movie I stay away from.
Yeah, that sounds like a late night paper.
Sounds like
no, I swear it isn't.
I know.
Sounds like
anyway, this guy and his girlfriend go into the woods in this state park, and there's like bears and somebody falls off a cliff, and I'm not going to give any more spoilers, but it's pretty good. Not that kind of bears.
Yeah, is it a bear from like one of these rednecks?
Speaking of which, I got to bring this up. Okay, I got to talk about this. I know it's not related to the article, but
it sure is. The way you're going right now.
So I got this little sample size. Actually, I snagged like 10 sample size body gels from this hotel. Yeah, because I have a habit of doing that. And they were for white citrus from Bath and Body Works. And I'm like, this stuff smells really good. It works good. So I went over to Bath and Body Works. I'm like, do you guys have any white citrus? And she's like, oh no, they stopped making that like 2 years ago. And then she made some weird comparison with Bath and Body Works is like a growing child. We evolve very quickly. And I'm like, what the hell? And then she told me, she's like, yeah, we don't have white citrus. So she gets those little spray strips out. She starts spraying all these men's body wash smells on these strips.
Which he needs to make a disclaimer on right now that he's not interested in, even when he went in that store.
They all smell like musk, dude. I bring my own musk to the table. I don't need to have artificial musk added to the body wash. So I'm like, what about women's? Do you have anything women's that's citrusy? And she brings me over to this huge rack, and they all say white citrus, which is exactly the thing I wanted.
Who had this huge rack? I want to know more about the huge
rack. Bath and Body Works.
She was probably Swedish. Anyway, so she didn't want to sell me this. She's like, oh, no, that's women's. Like, it doesn't smell like women's. It doesn't smell floral at all. It's total citrus. I don't know. I think citrus is manly.
Do you wear women's clothes because they look like men's clothes?
Oh, man.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
All right. Enough of that.
Dong.
Bonnie Herzog. Let's get back to the Herzog story now.
Yeah, that's what I know.
Not related to Werner. We know that now.
Yes, not related to Werner. So Bonnie Herzog is the analyst for tobacco for Wells Fargo, and she's the one that's always put out all of the press releases regarding how much money this industry is making, etc. And she wrote this article, Could e-cigarette sales be hitting a short-term plateau? She said this, her second quarter retail survey found moderating vapor category growth with several consumers being disillusioned by e-cigs, switching back to combustible cigs. Herzog said, stepped up innovation is critical for the long-term success of this category. That could include traditional e-cig products having more flavors, even as the Food and Drug Administration considers eliminating most flavors. Now, here is my take on this. From the figures that I've seen, cig-alike products and C-store offerings continue to take a foothold on the market, but they have a greater appeal to dual users. As we've said before, we here at Inside Vaping are in no way going to look down on dual user market, since at the end of the day, we're talking about somebody smoking fewer combustible cigarettes and using a reduced harm product. So, you know, it really, it's not something to be vilified, folks. It really isn't.
That's right. That's right.
Greg Connolly,
you do
president.
what you want to do. You want to vape.
Right.
You want to smoke. You want to dip. You want to snooze. You want to smoke a cigar. Go make yourself happy. You only live once. Okay.
Yes.
Let's do. That's
Freebase nicotine, right?
Freebase it.
That's what it's
Freebase it.
about.
Drink it. Mix it in your margarita. I don't give a shit. Stuff. Okay,
All
whatever.
right. Greg Connolly,
Next.
president of American Vaping Association, said he. Oh wait, I should say it in Greg's voice. Gentlemen, I strongly disagree.
No, it's not loud enough. You have to yell.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to wash out the mic.
Greg yell.
I strongly disagrees with Herzog's statement that smokers are becoming disillusioned with vapor products. Vape stores continue to report both increasing sales and an uptick in new customers, he said. Now, this is key. He said vape stores are continuing to report increasing sales. That's the open system market.
That's right.
And that's the one that's continuing upward growth. That's great news for us. It really is. Because as a whole, those systems are more efficient. So we're talking about tanks, refillable systems that use loose e-liquid. Those are the ones that are trending upwards. I'm sure many of you can attest to the fact that open systems products are way more efficient and therefore more likely to get people to switch completely.
Yep.
Dane, continue.
And Herzog said, it's becoming clear that e-cigs and vaporizers are competing with smokeless tobacco, such as moist snuff, for smokers who are seeking alternatives to traditional cigarettes. Herzog estimates that the overall industry e-cig revenue will increase to $10 billion by 2017. That's interesting. The article continues. Gilbert Ross, medical and executive director of the Pro-Business American Council on Science and Health, said his observations of non-convenience store outlets suggest recent vapor upgrades are connecting with smokers. I strongly doubt that Herzog's data are truly reflective of the market for harm-reduced e-cigs and vapor products, Ross said. Ross said he remains concerned that smokers who want to quit traditional cigarettes may be avoiding e-cigs and vaporizers. Listen to the reason he cited. Due to the pervasive campaign of fraudulent disinformation and misinformation being promulgated by public health officials for reasons anti-ethical to their mission and professional ethics and responsibilities. He is absolutely spot on.
Yeah, Dr. Ross, I say bravo. This is exactly the type of call-out that is needed. So he's doing what we need to do. If there's one point I'd like to communicate to our viewers, it's this. If you choose to engage your state and local representatives about this topic, make sure you drive home the fact that this is a public health issue. Those are the words that you have to use. It's a public health issue because those are buzzwords. Those are words they understand. I've seen many vapors say things like, it's my right to vape. They voice outrage about their personal rights being infringed. And while I don't disagree with that viewpoint, the thing we have to voice to these legislators and representatives is the huge benefit to public health that reduced harm products like snus and vaping can have. Yes, I slipped snus in there again. Not just for ourselves, but for the generations to follow. Nicotine is not going anywhere. It's really not. It's the third most popular stimulant in the world behind caffeine and alcohol, and unfortunately it's gotten a bit of a bad rap as the result of combustible products and the intrinsic link between cigarettes and tobacco. The percentage of smokers who say they fear e-cigs has risen, since why shouldn't they believe the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the FDA? That's the real problem, Ross said. New product styles for blue e-cigs helped that brand chip away at View's top market share over the past 2 months, according to Nielsen data as of July 11th. I, for one, could not be happier to see View's market share in decline. And there's a reason for that. We're going to
Views is made by R.J. Reynolds Vapor Company.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, R.J. Reynolds Vapor Company is going to get the BOD award. So let's not forget what Reynolds spokesman David Howard told the Winston-Salem Journal back in 2014. We believe open system vapor products create unique public health risks. These systems are highly subject to adulteration, and tampering. David Howard, R.J. Reynolds Vapor Co.
Yeah.
Are you just putting Googled images in chat?
Yeah. Yeah, look at that. That's David Howard. He plays the flute.
I'm pretty sure that's not the same David Howard.
I don't think that's the David. Who's that woman? That's not David Howard.
No, that's
Bonnie Herzog.
Oh, that's Bonnie Herzog.
She's actually pretty attractive. Just going to say that.
With makeup.
Would only be better if she was Swedish.
She probably looks like white trash without all on it.
I see slander coming
Shots
our way.
across the board.
Probably.
All right, so yes, R.J. Reynolds gets the BOD award this week.
And we all know that we haven't given out a bag of dicks in a few weeks, so it's really time to do that.
It
It's
is.
It's absolutely correct that it's a bag of dicks.
Just to let you know, there's 11.
James is politically correct and calls it the BOD because he does not want to offend, but I am all about offending. Yes. And Bag of Dicks is exactly what that is. So, David Howard, congratulations. You are the retroactive award winner.
Yes,
in perpetuity because you are the biggest dick in the Bag of Dicks.
Yes, and now enjoy yet another video, this time out of NBC2 News in Lee County, Florida. Hold on to your hats for this one, folks.
This is epic.
We learned today that at least 10 kids have gotten sick in Lee County from swallowing liquid nicotine. It's commonly used in these e-cigarettes. NBC2's Carla Byron looked into the status of a law that would protect kids from the toxic liquid.
I think vaping is a great thing.
Before vaping, Gina Willard smoked cigarettes for more than 35 years.
We were able to quit because of vaping, so I think it's a great thing.
With vaping becoming more popular, it's easier for e-cigarette liquid to get into kids' hands.
The nicotine is dangerous to children, and I wouldn't want them to get a hold of it. It would be bad.
It's not just children getting poisoned. A Miami Poison Center educator says there have been 15 cases of liquid nicotine poison in Lee County since 2013. 10 of those cases involved toddlers swallowing or tasting the liquid. 5 involved adults.
In 2 cases, adults mistook the bottle of nicotine for eye drops. In the other cases, the adults simply drank the nicotine to get high.
Liquid nicotine bottles are easy to open and usually colorful, appealing to children.
I have a young child myself, and they're opening up the fridge and peeking at things and trying different things. So yeah, I think it should be
I don't know.
more
I'm puzzled
difficult
by
to
that.
open.
Senator Bill Nelson's legislation to regulate bottles heads to the Senate for a vote. The legislation requires child-resistant packaging. Vapers we spoke with today say they keep their bottles far away from children.
I have it on the door in the refrigerator where I store it underneath the.
Them's my magic shoes.
Excuse me, the butter container.
She puts
So
it
it's
underneath the
closed
bread.
and it's a little bit higher up where you can't reach it.
Almost said they'd take me anywhere.
Children myself, and I keep my things put up in a box. Locked away.
You could tell a lot about a horse by their shoes.
Comfort over style.
Gosh.
Oh man, that was like a third person in that interview. It was the lady, the reporter, and the blue shoes.
Yeah, them's my magic shoes.
So let me get this straight.
God.
They had, of the 5 involved adults, 2 tried to use it ocularly, so in their eyes, and the other 3 just wanted to get effed up. I'm sorry. These are Darwin Award winners here.
Yeah, Darwin Award, absolutely correct. And apparently, this is so hard for me to fathom. These folks thought that they were reaching for eye drops?
Dude.
Well,
They've got to be as blind as Ray Charles that they didn't notice their eye drops were viscous, pleasant smelling liquid. But James, I think, being the eternal capitalist and opportunist that I am, this could be a great new segment of the market, couldn't it? Vape. Think about it. Vape. Just drip right in your eyes. You don't have to fill an atomizer.
You know what? This article, this news story just left me with one question. Was she gelling? Was she gelling like a felon?
Those look like some pretty comfy shoes, so I think she probably...
Walmart.
Walmart.
Oh,
the people
man.
of Walmart were apparently made up in this video, because if you're reaching for eye drops and grab your e-liquid, then they may have to split the bag of dicks this week with the people of that county.
Yeah.
We may have to split those.
I got to show you this, and then we'll end the show because we've already run out of
Duro
time.
said he's out of meth, so let him drink some of that e-juice.
E-juice oil.
Duro. Hey, you guys, speaking of Duro's a knife guy. You want to show off your knives?
Who cares?
Oh, wait, mine is on my dresser. But hold on, I will run and get it. Just for this segment, I will run and get it.
Yes.
All right. We'll talk about...
While he's running to get his... So, here's the thing. So, James and Dane both show up in town. And why is my close-up all, like, head
I don't know.
So they show up in town. We're over at Nixteria, Anthony's shop. And... here we are, huddled around the trunk of James's car, like we're dealing something.
Okay, that was a really long run.
So this was like the 30th knife he pulled out. I'm like, dude, that one's kind of cool and simple. He's like, well, you can have it. I'm like, oh, I can have it. So now, only Dane has never given me a gift.
Oh,
that is brutal.
Wow.
I love Dane, though. His presence was a gift enough.
This was the one that I got. I'm going to have to go way back in the shot here to hold this up, because this is a swamp rat, which I don't want to drop.
Both swamp rats.
Yeah,
it is hefty.
Is everybody showing their knives?
It is.
Hey, you
got
a knife?
There you go.
Ooh, look at that. Gary's got a big old knife there.
Got one. There it is.
Holy crap!
It was given to me by my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Nice.
It looks like a Rambo knife.
I think it is. He's a hick. He
Here,
loves.
I'll pull this one out since this one's convenient. This is a karambit.
Gosh,
it's a pretty nice one. It's a hangnail. It's called a hangnail. Looks painful.
It does look painful.
Yes.
Yeah, Duro.
Right.
He gave me a bussy, which is shocking.
Well, it's a Busey family knife. It's not really Busey.
True.
Yeah, because you got Swamp Rat, and then you have Scrapyard, and Busey, and then Custom Shop. But yeah, we're kind of knife geeks. Dane is a newly appointed knife geek. But,
yeah. I do not have near the collection, and never will, that James does. James has an arsenal on him at all times.
You guys should interview have you Randy Fear from Poet?
No.
He actually makes he makes knives.
Really?
Oh, does he really? Oh, we got to get him on here.
He's an artisan.
That'd be awesome.
So he's one of my best friends. Yeah, he's good. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
All right, hook us
That'd
up.
be very cool.
Oh, for sure. I'll get him on.
All right,
And I'll
so
keep you
that's
guys
all
on
we've
top
got.
of it, too.
That's all we've got for the evening. But Gary, you did agree. You're actually going to do a giveaway for one of our viewers here.
Well, right quick. We were going to talk about some battery watt hours, but I really wanted Jerry to be here for that, because I know he'll have something to say on that.
Oh yeah. I guess we should wait. And
let's wait.
We've actually got a pretty interesting guest lined up for a couple weeks from now. We were supposed to have Brandon from Evolve on the show, but he's very hard to pin down. So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to
Brandon,
happen.
have your people call our people.
Yeah. But Gary, so the scoop with these newly reformulated juices, and then the new product co-produced with Swomesto, those are going to be released at ECC. And what are the dates for ECC again?
All I know, I think it starts next, Thursday, Friday. So not this Thursday, but next Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. And the way we're going to do this contest, first, what is it for, Gary?
I will give out my entire reformulated line of Mr. Good Vape and my entire line of the Unity collaboration with Swomesto. And I will give a bobblehead as well.
Wow. Very cool. All right.
I'll give you guys all bobbleheads. I'll give you guys all bobbleheads too. Just send me your address. I'll send them to you.
Cool.
Oh, that's
There you
cool.
go. Ed loves the toys. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
He's got.
Yeah, look. There.
Okay.
It's like How to Train Your Dragon fanatic.
Yeah, I got it on my arm too.
He's got a tattoo. He's got the big old tattoo.
I didn't see the ears at first. I was like, what was that?
So anyway,
kudos to you, Gary, and your company.
Yes.
You guys did an incredible thing there, and I know that is no small task to completely reformat an entire line, let alone your most popular flavors, which is a scary thing in and of itself. But I'm sure that this is going to pay off for your company enormously down the road.
It's worth
yeah,
it.
and here's the thing that I just want to stress for our viewers too. If you think about it, and I'm not going to name names, but there have been other companies that have basically had their feet held to the fire over this, the test result findings, and some of them have not done anything about it. So, again, no matter which side of the debate you stand on when it comes to diacetyl and AP, we know that there is a way that we can make this safer. And that's pretty much the end of the story for me. So if you can make it safer, do it. It's granted there's going to be some adjustments. People are going to have to get used to the taste of the replacements. There's going to be some slight changes, but I think it's better overall if we do it that way. What are you typing, Ed?
They asked me if I'm in my underwear.
I said Ed is always in his underwear because he is.
Yes. All right. So as far as the contest goes, just leave a comment down in the comment section of the video on YouTube with the words "I'm in."
Yep.
If
You must put the words "I'm in."
If you don't put the words "I'm in" somewhere in the YouTube comment, then you won't be entered in the contest. But I'm sure people will get creative with it. And
just talk about my beard, and then you can win.
Gary Riddle beard. Gary Riddle replica beard. I'm in.
Is this a random generated kind of deal, or?
Yeah, we'll do random.org.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the plan. Sean wants to be on the after show.
Wants to be on the after show. I put the vapors.tv/inside vape link there. That is where we are going to be for our after show this evening. And of course, everyone is welcome.
Yes. You're all
that's
welcome.
Where things
One and all.
degrade.
Gary, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and good luck at ECC, sir. And hopefully,
hey, you got to ask him the question.
Oh, yeah, the question.
You always forget the question.
This is the one that's not on the notes there. If you could invite 3 people to a dinner party, alive or dead, who would they be?
That's a hard one. Do they? What's the benefit? I mean, what am I supposed to?
Depends on who you invite.
All right. I don't know why I thought of George Washington for some reason. I think it'd be weird. He has no wooden teeth. I wanted to see that. It'd be interesting. Let's say. Gosh, this is hard to put on the spot. I'd say Michael Jackson would be weird to see his face. I have always wanted to see him in person because I always look weird in photographs. So
Yeah.
I think Michael Jackson would be definitely weird to see. And then let's see.
George Washington, Michael Jackson.
And then we can invite Bill Cosby to knock the other 2 out. right?
And then you can
I have a feeling TMZ would want to be at this dinner party.
Yeah,
With the
that would
three
be
of them in that
interesting
room.
because back in George Washington, slavery was legal. Michael Jackson was once black and now white. That's going to totally
man.
throw George Washington off. and Bill Cosby's just on the other end of George Washington in the race department.
Oh, man.
The race to knock him out, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Those Jello
Sorry.
pudding pops. I'm telling you, man. What? All right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
know.
All right. Take it easy, everybody. We'll see you over on the after show.
have a good week, everybody.
Yes. Let's see if the outro will play. It probably won't, though. And it's such a beautiful outro. There we go. Who did that? They should get an Emmy.
That's